So we're Radical Growth. We've made up of a team of myself. I'm a fourth year geography, a science student, and we've Dahi here, who's fourth year geography and sociology. We have Monica and Ming, who are both first year human health and disease, and we also have Sean and Owen, who are both environmental scientists, and then Clara, who's a zoologist as well. So Radical Growth, who are we? We are a land and garden share service for rethinking food production within the city, and Dahi's going to take you through the process now.
Thanks. Hi everyone. So yeah, when we first entered into the ITL, I think the idea that struck most of us was the concept of the commons and what we kind of gathered around. How do we think about communal resources? What are the issues around resource management, access to resources, and how to address them? And we started thinking about the problems that arise, these issues, and I guess issues of the commons are associated with population growth and carbon footprint. Issues of pollution and cost, definitely. But food security and biodiversity loss were the two things that we kind of focused on mostly. And so we started thinking about, where is the commons located? What are the commons? And how can we, as a group, engage with the idea of the commons? And so we started coming up with ideas. We had a few ideas. One was an awareness campaign of kind of large-scale art installations focusing on garden themes, transformation of kind of neglected urban spaces. What we've most focused on now is a land share project. Thinking about where the commons are again. There's so many empty gardens lying around the city. Dormant, idling space, and we're thinking, well, how do we access them? How do we access these resources? Not only are there loads of empty spaces, but there's also a lot of empty skilled people who haven't got access to these spaces, eager and talented. So how do we transform from an idling space to productive space to produce a functional garden, to produce an edible crop as well that people can then share in? So we decided that the best thing we could do was come up with a website, and the website would be our tool for hacking the city in terms of food resources. So you can see the website, the main focus of our website is about sharing land, so people can post land they have that's available. People can look for land in their area. There'd be a group according to area. Or even if you don't have any land, you just want to help somebody else out, you can just help out. But sharing is kind of the main theme of this. There are other examples. There is a land share site in the UK, and there's other ones globally, but what we're really focusing on is the sharing of all the ingredients that go into producing such an idea. So you can see here on the side we have a seed sharing, a tool exchange. Really, sharing and community are the things we're kind of trying to focus on. So it's about sharing skills, information, also recipes, the produce that comes from the fruits of everyone's labour. We think people can share ideas for seasonal meals and a way of gathering together. During our research, we did come across a paradox when we all know that there's allotments in the city and that's a growing trend, but there is a paradox in Dublin at the moment between a waiting list and an abandonment issue. So we see that as a really good entry point for us to be able to alleviate some of the pressure on these allotments, or people who people often take on allotments not knowing how much work is required. It's a way of them then bringing other people on board to help them. But we did conduct some research into this and went around the idea of whether people actually care about the idea. Our sample was mostly students with a sample size of 75, mostly Trinity students, which does kind of limit. We can't really generalise our findings, so we will have to do further research. But we're taking that as like a good intent of future action, And cost was the biggest concern, which doesn't really ally itself massively with our concerns of food security and biodiversity loss. But it doesn't matter, because regardless of the motivation for engaging in a project like this, the outcomes are the same and we can all benefit from it. So in terms of how we would see our business model, Radical Growth is part of a number of growing trends, pardon the pun, because we are a collaborative consumption peer-to-peer scheme. I'm sure you're all aware of peer-to-peer schemes like Airbnb, or if any of you torrent and things like that. This collaborative consumption idea is kind of, the main drivers for it are re-emergence of community, concern with the environment, and cost consciousness, which are all three big drivers for us as well. So it's a really good fit for us. Also, we've during our research come across a rise in small-scale agriculture. So there are a lot of community garden projects ongoing at the moment, and and there's a lot of other websites facilitating education around growing food and the importance of food. Really, what we are trying to do is facilitate the shift from ownership to sharing, of not just land, but of everything. So even your devices that you might use for growing. And we think if you would come with us, you could save your pockets, yes, you can save the planet. So we invite you to join us and eat the crop out of your neighbours for a better future. Thank you.